Last time on Quiet Night, the first old man told his story. A wife who studied magic in secret. A son transformed into a calf. A girl named Layla who gave him back everything he had lost at a price. The genie listened and granted 1/3 of the merchant's freedom. Now the second old man stepped forward, the one with the 2 black dogs. He looked up at the genie, this massive creature of fury and grief, and spoke without flinching. This is what he said. "We are 3 brothers, these 2 black dogs and myself. Our father left each of us 1,000 gold coins when he died. We were young, ambitious, and certain the world was waiting for us. We all became merchants and opened our shops side by side. My eldest brother was the restless kind. He sold everything, bought goods for trade, and set off to see the world. He came back a year later as a beggar. I did not ask questions. I took him in, fed him, clothed him, and gave him half of everything I had earned while he was gone, 1,000 coins. He started over. We said nothing more about it. Then my second brother did exactly the same thing. Same ambition, same journey, same ending. I took care of him too. I gave him 1,000 coins from my own savings. He reopened his shop and we carried on. Some years passed quietly. Then one morning, both brothers came to me together with a proposition. Come with us, they said. Travel with us this time, the 3 of us together. I said no. I said no the first time, the second time, the 3rd and 4th and 5th time over 5 years, I said no. You traveled, I told them. And what did you gain? But they kept coming back. And eventually, it's the way people eventually do when someone keeps asking the same question with enough patience. I gave in. I checked what they had left of the money I had given them. They had spent every coin. I said nothing about that either. I counted what I had. 6,000 coins in total. I gave 1,000 to each of them, kept one for myself, and buried the remaining 3,000 under the floor of my house. A quiet reserve, an old habit I could not shake. We loaded a ship with merchandise, said our goodbyes, and sailed out of the harbor with a good wind behind us. 2 months of sailing brought us to a foreign port. We traded well and were loading the ship for the return journey when I saw her, a woman standing alone on the shore, poorly dressed, but something about her, her posture, the way she held herself, did not match the clothes at all. She came straight to me, took my hand, and asked me to marry her and bring her aboard. I said no. She asked again, quietly, without desperation. More like a person who already knew the answer would eventually change and was simply waiting for me to arrive at it. I said no again. She told me she would be a good wife, that she had nowhere else to go, that she was asking me specifically, not the other merchants, not my brothers, me. Something about that specificity gave me pause. I said yes. I bought her fine clothes. We were married before we sailed. And when we set out for home, with my new wife on one side and my 2 brothers on the other, I felt for the first time in years that something genuinely good had happened to me. During that voyage, I discovered things about my wife that made me fall in love with her more each day. Her patience, her intelligence, the way she listened when I spoke as if what I said actually mattered. My brothers watched all of this from across the deck, and they began to hate me for it. The jealousy that had always lived quietly in them. The jealousy of men who had failed and watched their brothers succeed, found a new object. My happiness had become the thing they could not tolerate. One night, while my wife and I were sleeping, they threw us both into the sea. I should have drowned. But my wife was not what she appeared to be. She was a fairy. She pulled me from the water and carried me safely to a small island. When morning came, she sat beside me and told me everything. She had seen me on the shore, she said. Something about me caught her attention. My face, my manner, something she could not entirely name. She wanted to know what kind of man I truly was. So she tested me. The poverty was a disguise. The pleading was a performance. Everything about how she had appeared on that dock was constructed to see what I would do. I had been kind when kindness was not required. I had married a woman who appeared to have nothing to offer me, and I had treated her well every day since. She had her answer. Then her expression changed. She was angry about my brothers, very angry. The kind of anger that does not argue or raise its voice. It simply decides. She wanted to kill them. I begged her not to. They are my brothers, I told her. Whatever they have done, they are still my brothers. I asked her to spare them. I argued. I pleaded. She was not easily moved, but eventually she agreed on her own terms.
I will spare their lives, but they will not escape what they have done.
She carried me home in an instant, set me down on the roof of my own house, and vanished. I climbed down, opened my doors, dug up my 3,000 coins, reopened my shop the next morning, and received the congratulations of my fellow merchants on my safe return. That evening I came home and found 2 black dogs sitting in my doorway. They looked up at me with eyes that were wrong. Not wrong like an animal, wrong like a person trapped where a person should not be. The fairy reappeared beside me. She did not wait for me to ask. Those are your brothers. They will remain as they are for 10 years. When the 10 years are done, come and find me. And she told me where. Then she was gone. That was almost 10 years ago. I have kept them with me every day since, fed them, talked to them. I do not know how much they understand. I do not know if there is still a person in there looking out through those eyes. But I have never been able to treat them as anything less than my brothers. Even now, even after what they did. The 10 years are nearly finished. I am on my way to find her and ask for them to be restored. That is why I am on this road. That is why I stopped. That is my story. The genie considered what he had heard. 3 stories. 3 old men who had appeared from nowhere in a desert and chosen to sit beside a dying stranger. The 3rd old man told his story too. History did not record what it was, but those who were there said it was the most extraordinary of all 3. The genie granted the final 3rd without hesitation. The merchant was free. He embraced each old man with tears he could not hold back. Then they went their separate ways. The old men back to their roads and their searching. The merchant home to the wife and children he had spent a year, believing he would never see again. He passed the rest of his days in peace. And Scheherazade paused. The Sultan lay in the dark, in the silence where the story had been, and said nothing for a long moment. Then Scheherazade spoke again. Your Highness, everything I have told you across these nights, the merchant, the genie, the old men, and their stories, all of it is nothing, nothing compared to what I have not yet told you. There is a fisherman. and a genie sealed in a bottle at the bottom of the sea for 500 years. And what happens when that bottle is finally opened is more extraordinary than anything you have heard so far. If your highness will permit me, tomorrow night I will begin. The Sultan did not reach for the blade. Begin, he said.